The NBA Finals are underway and the series is tied 1-1. The question that's on my mind is who has the advantage after Game 2? Is it the Celtics, who were able to steal Game 1 on the road with a near perfect fourth quarter, or is it the Warriors, who responded in Game 2 with a blowout win? So in this video, I'm going to be going over some pros and cons from what I've seen from both teams so far, and ultimately I'll list a couple X factors that I believe will determine the outcome of the rest of the NBA Finals. Before we go any further, if you're new and you like the content, please subscribe, leave a like. We're trying to get to 200 subs by the end of the month, and if you don't like the content, leave a comment below anyway, and we can have a civilized discussion in the comment section. All right, let's get into it. So the easy answer to my own question would be to say the Celtics. You know, they're the road team, they stole Game 1, and now they have an opportunity to go back home and potentially go up 3-1 if they're able to defend home court. But how did the Celtics take Game 1, and more importantly, can they do it again? Game 1 was all about the role players, or the others. We'll never see Al Horford at the top of the NBA Finals MVP ladder ever again. Okay, he was incredible, but so was Peyton Pritchard, Marcus Smart, and especially Derek White. Not to mention, Jaylen Brown played like an all-star, and the fact that Tatum only went 3 for 17 in Game 1, it didn't even matter because his playmaking and his 13 assists really helped get those others involved early and often. I love when Tatum serves as a playmaker because I think that's what's really holding him back from true superstardom. But the Celtics have to find a way to get him some easier shots. He's getting a lot of tough shots, and he's being guarded pretty well, and he's shooting a very low 30% from the field because of that. So a collection of role players clicking at the same time can win you a game in a series like it did for the Celtics in Game 1. But the Celtics can only win this series if Jason Tatum is their MVP. So it's a lot to ask of him to be a playmaker and an efficient scorer, but he's capable. So together in Game 1, Marcus Smart, Al Horford, and Derek White combined for 65 points. In Game 2, they only combined for 16 points. I don't think they'll be as good as Game 1 again, but I also don't think they'll be as bad as Game 2. Look for that to pretty much even out and average out in Game 3 and beyond. But from the Celtics sides, I'm really still waiting on Robert and Grant Williams to make their impact on this series. Look, I know Kevon Looney is decent, but Robert Williams is losing the matchup in fewer minutes at that. He's got to find a way to get more rebounds, and he's got to take pride in his defensive matchups because he was getting put in a lot of high and pick and roll actions, especially in Game 2, and he seemed to have a hard time adjusting in Game 2. The Celtics are a much better team with Rob playing like Robert Williams. And then Grant Williams, I don't know, man, he's just kind of doing nothing out there. I'm aware he's not a big box score guy. We can't expect 7 threes out of him or whatever it was like that one game, but he needs to step up and make his impact felt because he's one of their best bench players. Now onto the Warriors side of things. The elephant in the room is Klay Thompson. He's been awful. He's dribbling way too much. He can't even score in garbage time minutes. He is being well guarded, but he's also missing a lot of good makeable shots. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're on FanDuel or whatever, take Klay's over right now. He is due, and at this point in his career, he deserves our benefit of the doubt. With that being said, if Klay does continue to play at this poor level, I do not like the Warriors' chances of winning this series. Steph has been incredible. He's the odds-on finals MVP favorite so far. He's playmaking incredibly well, and as long as Steph is Steph, they're going to be tough to beat. But the reason the Warriors are so good all the time isn't because Steph is so great and he just carries everyone else like LeBron in 2018 or something. It's because he's such a threat that his gravity allows everyone else to play to their max potential. They need Klay Thompson, and they need him now. And I have to acknowledge Steph's defense because he looks really committed on that end of the floor. I just cannot say the same about Jordan Poole. He was getting exposed in Game 1. Now, his offensive spurtability helped offset some of his detriments on the defensive side of the ball, but I bet one of the main things that we'll see going into Game 3 for the Celtics is to get Jordan Poole involved defensively as much as possible, especially getting him switched on to guys like Jason Tatum, who, like I said, really needs to get some easier looks at the basket. And actually, that reminds me, Andrew Wiggins has done an outstanding job as the primary defender on Jason Tatum. I think his offensive production will be pretty sporadic and inconsistent for the rest of the series, but he is playing some winning basketball right now, and so is Draymond Green. Okay, Draymond shot 2 for 12 in Game 1, which was a great game plan from the Celtics. That's the Warriors' least threatening offensive weapon most of the time. But Draymond responded by only shooting 3 times in Game 2 and purely doubling down on the stuff that makes Draymond Draymond. Okay, he was talking smack, making hustle plays, maybe a couple dirty plays here and there. You know, love him or hate him, it's true Draymond fashion, and it's been successful. So I'm going to decline to comment on some of the officiating I've been seeing so far. Not to say that I think it's been balanced or that I agree with every call or whatever. But, you know, my mindset is this. It's all going to even out in the end, okay? We're going back to Boston. I'm sure at least one of these games, we're going to get Aisha Curry back on Twitter talking about how the game is rigged for money or something. I'm not trying to hear all that. So, look, I know I just said a lot of pros and cons for both teams. But the main thing that determined these wins so far, and what I believe will be the main factor in who wins the NBA Finals, is which team can get on a run. The Celtics won Game 1 by going on a 17-0 run in the fourth. And then the Warriors did it in Game 2 by going on a 25-2 run in the third quarter. Which team do you trust more to go on a run while also stringing together consecutive defensive stops? To me, the answer is the Golden State Warriors, and it's mostly because of Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson is no role player. He's a perennial all-star and one of the greatest shooters we've ever seen. The Celtics statistically are not as good in the playoffs on their home court, and they're actually more prone to give up big leads while in Boston. So if I could oversimplify my argument down to one statement, or I guess sentiment rather, all other things equal, okay, it's 1-1. Both teams have the superstar talent. Both teams have great coaching, top defenses, offensive spurtability. These are truly the best two teams from each conference. But when you look at the guys so far who haven't shown up from their respective teams, who moves the needle more when they are on? That is the difference maker. Is it Grant and Rob Williams on the Celtics side? Or is it Klay Thompson and, I guess to a lesser degree, Jordan Poole? So even though the Celtics were able to do their job and steal Game 1, the adjustments that the Warriors were able to make and get a blowout win with Klay Thompson still playing like trash, that leads me to believe that the Warriors still hold the advantage in winning the 2022 NBA Finals. I know I just made the assumption that all other things will remain equal, which it certainly won't, but my opinion won't change regardless of what happens in Game 3. Some people say a playoff series doesn't start until someone wins on the road, but I think the series doesn't start until one team is facing elimination. So in the meantime, I'm just going to be rooting for whoever's losing at the time because I'm just not ready to go into the off season, man. I need a Game 7. I need a Game 7 like a basketball needs air. I'll rig the games myself if I have to. But anyway, I'm getting out of hand. Thank you all for watching. Appreciate you tuning into the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we got to get to 200 by the end of the month. So holla at me in the comments section. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Give me your thoughts on the series so far. And I'll see you all in the next one.